Hello and welcome to my home studio. I'm Doran, a Certified Anusara yoga teacher, and I invite you into our practice to enjoy being in the heart, open to the present, open to be in that place where courage wins out over fear. So we're going to be doing a progressive warm-up practice, and you're welcome to join us as we practice. And I created a couple books together bound with duct tape wrapped in a towel. As an example, if you don't have a yoga block, this is a way that you can practice and have a little extra support when needed. If you want to purchase yoga blocks, I recommend going to yogaaccessories.com. They've got a great selection for under $10. Take a couple moments just to be grounded here. Invite your family in. Sit. This is a practice that's going to be more on the gentle side, just feeling present in the body, cultivating awareness of the heart through the physical sensations. With your eyes closed, lengthen up through your spine and draw your shoulders back. Ground down through your seat. Like a seed sending down its taproot, reach down into the earth. And wick up life force energy, moving up from your seat, through your spine, to your heart, to your throat, and to the crown of your head. I'm going to open now with one Om and one round of the Anusara invocation in Sanskrit. Either you could join me or just sit in the vibration. Hands together for your heart. Draw a breath in. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchit Ananda Murtaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Om. Release your hands and begin to just roll your shoulders. Just round, lean back, and your seated posture can be like me sitting on a couple blocks, or it could be crisscross. I want you to be comfortable and just stretch and roll. Now I want you to take your left arm up to the sky, right hand behind you, and it could be on a block or on the floor, and just kind of turn and twist and stretch out. Remember not to overdo it, but be open to the senses, to feel, to keep the heart leading you through this dance. And then release down, change sides, lift and roll out. And then release all the way down. Breathe. And from your seated posture, reach your left hand over to your left knee and add a little twist here. Pulling your navel back, lengthen up through the crown of your head. Draw a breath in as you release, and then exhale, turn and twist to the second side. And release all the way out. And now again, just kind of roll and stretch through your arms and move. Now we're going to come to hands and knees. You might have to share your space. From here, I want you to step your right foot back and press down into the floor. As you push your arms down, lift a little in that space between your shoulder blades. And feel that opening the heart is not just in the front, it's in the back plane as well. And release that, move as you like. Step back with your right foot. And lift between the shoulder blades. Release that down. Widen your knees and just use the weight of your seat to drop back and stretch out in your low back and your waistline. With an inhale, lean forward, take your knees back so they're just hip width wide, and stretch forward, rooting down through your arms to hold your body weight up. Draw your shoulders back and lengthen. And now lift your waist, walk your knees further back now as we come into a prayer pose. And as you just settle in, allow yourself to pulse a little bit. In this class, we're keeping the heart open so the ego doesn't push us to go deep and deep in a way that you have to prove something. This is just riding a wave of feeling and sensation. And now lift your shoulders, walk your knee forward. And we come into the swan pose with the left knee sliding forward. And you roll back. And I'm mirroring you here, using the opposite knee is what I say. You can utilize blocks as a way to push down into the earth to get a little lift if you like, or not. And now release, slide back. And come forward with your right knee. And walk your hands back, pulling in. And then release and slide back. Take a moment just to kind of wag out through your hips. And walk your hands further back until you can lift and stand on your knees. As you stand on your knees here, I want you just to deepen your groins back a little bit. And note how I kick my feet back. They're little supports. I'm going to have you set your waist back, but not all the way down to your heels. And then come back up, roll your shoulders back. Draw a breath in. And then with an exhale, slide your waistline back, hands just downward towards your knees or on your thighs. And obviously you could use any extra support like towels or blankets underneath your knees if you like. And then release. Now lift up through your left arm and slide your right hand back to your heel, to your thigh, or if you prefer to use a block, put it there. And I'm lifting up high, lengthening the space between my vertebrae. And now turn. So you look back towards your right heel. And now lift up. We'll do the second side. Keep your right arm lifted. Take your left hand down and turn, looking back towards your left heel. And then slide your arms to the sky. And as you take a little bit more weight forward in your hips, push off your toes. That lifts your low ribs. And you're going to lean back, floating your heart like a beautiful hot air balloon, lifting up. And then lower. And come back to hands and knees. And take a moment to shake your legs loose, soften out. Again, we're expanding awareness, expanding feeling. And I have us do the side angle or lateral stretch. Take your left foot behind you and your right foot back. And then you just kind of lean back. And slide out through your top arm. And stretch. Now lower your arm down. And lower your hips. We're going to do the second side. Turn here. You can take your left foot back. Right hand down with a little turn of the wrist out. And then you lean back into your back foot, which is like a little kickstand holding you up. Lift your arm. And then stretch the left arm overhead and lean back. Come out by lowering your hand down to the floor. Lower both knees and take a moment with your knees wide to just rest down, and you can use your stack of books or your blocks. You just gotta come down and just rest your head. With your knees wide, let your tailbone drop down heavy. With your knees open, your belly can drop, and you can be anywhere. You don't have to have your head on the mat or on the block. And now come all the way back up to your hands and knees. Stand on both knees. And step your right foot out in front. And we're going to just roll back and forth. And when we do this, we're just lubricating the motion, the fluids in the joints of your ankles, knees, hips. And I'm going to have you take both hands down to the floor or onto blocks. Now pull back, straightening your front leg. Lift your toes up and use the weight of your seat dropping down to stretch out the underside of your legs. And now lean back forward and lift your hands up. In this beautiful pose called Anjaneyasana, we're grounding into the earth and letting the energy rise back up through us. As your shoulders lift, draw them back, pull your navel back, and let your heart soar forward and open in the back plane. And now release all the way down to the floor. We're going to pull the front leg back and take a moment to move and stretch, maybe wag your ankles like this. Come back up to your knees and step your left foot out in front, hands to the floor. And take some time to move, roll. Now start to draw back and lift the ball of your foot. And pressing the heel down to root it, you pull against that up towards your belly. Contraction in precedes expansion out. And then lift up. Breathe. This getting steady, moving in, being courageous, keeps the heart open and fluid, keeps us present to the reality we are experiencing now. And just lift your heart. Sweep your arms back. And release all the way down. Pull your front foot back and take a couple moments to move and stretch. Lift. Right foot out in front. And now we're going to lean in and just draw your hands back by your ears. Lift the elbows higher up and then extend your arms away from your head. Keep the push down into your front foot. The tailbone dropping, that lifts the heart, gives you something to lift up against. And come out slow and steady when you're ready. Hands to your heart. Down. Owning the beauty and the grace in your movement, your intention, your practice. Draw back, hands and knees. And now second side. You're going to step your left foot forward. Keep facing forward. I just pivot so you get the different sides, different angles in my practice. Shoulders up and back. Tailbone heavy, lift. With your arms extending back. Keep melting forward. And now all the way down to the earth. Draw back and take a couple moments here. You can even widen your knees and just rest your seat down. Come back to neutral hands and knees. And we're going to step your right leg back. Now lift your left arm and you pull from your fingers towards your heart. Pull from the arch of your back foot up towards your heart. And now float your back leg. If you're just wrestling with pain in your low back, a big discomfort, lower your foot back down. Otherwise, just be suspended here in space. One part pulling in, one part expanding out. Release hand and knee down. And take a moment just to move. I love coming back to fluidity. Second side, left leg back. Feel the connection down to the earth in your arms, and then lift your right arm. And again, we play the balance game. And keep it light, playful. And that way you stay in an open heart. You're not forcing yourself to do something that doesn't feel right. An open heart helps you be present with what is showing up in your life right now. Release all the way down. Breathe and exhale into a deep cat pose, scooping your tailbone, let the head drop and your belly rise. And release. And a couple fluid moments. Coming to downward dog, step your left leg back. And then right leg back with a bend in your knees. Press your seat up and back. And lengthen out through your arms. Slide forward to plank. We're going to come to upward dog, so you can either lower your knees or keep them lifted. I like to lower, flip my feet, and then lift once again. Lower your knees and take it back. And lift. Walk your knees forward. Sit back on your heels. Now, if you want to grab a block or two, here's where you can bring them into play. They could either be by your sides, underneath your seat, like a little cushion, a little support. I want to take a moment just to catch our breath, stretch out the upper body a little bit. So I want you to take your right elbow up. Left hand supports it. You're going to just draw your hand further and further back and down towards your spine, aiming towards that place between your shoulder blades. And I just use a gentle pull of my top arm, stretch my pointed elbow back, and then I'm just going to gently release it down and do a couple little rolls. Come up with your left arm, bend the elbow, hand down, right arm up to the crown of your elbow, stretch it back. Now release that down and let it roll. Okay, we're going to take that big movement back into our lateral side pose. That's going to have us reach back like the arm of a jet as it rolls upward towards the sky. So come to your hands and knees, facing forward. Take your left foot off to the side and your right foot to the back of your mat. Press all of the foot down, the inner and outer edges, and then lean back. Now, just like we did before, we're going to just kind of lean our heart back, but rather than reaching the arm up, we're going to turn the palm to the sky, and we're going to roll open, stretching open in the chest. Lengthen the pectoral muscles from the middle of your breastbone all the way to your outer shoulder, down to your arms. And release down. And release to a breath, a movement of your choice. And I'm going to turn and face you the other direction so you can see the back side. So your right foot goes off behind you, left foot to the end of your mat, and then you roll open, turning your palm to the sky as you stretch back. Release. I'll breathe. Take your seat back, roll forward. Get used to coming back to your own individual movements that help you feel open and fluid. Now we're going to come back to the lateral stretch with your right leg back. Lean all the way back and lift your arm to the sky. Now sweep your arm up and more back than just stretching forward. And as I press down into my back foot and pull, I can feel all the area around my low belly lengthen, my thighs stretch, and the heart stays open. I trust my limits, and then I roll out. Take a couple moments on your hands and knees, and then step your left foot back. Turn your heart, reach your arm up and back, okay, steady. Then you push down and pull up from your back foot towards your heart. And as you sweep your arm forward, lean back. And come all the way out. Hands and knees, just roll. We're going to do downward dog, just kind of stretch it out a little bit. So take one leg back, then the other. Lift into dog with a bend in your knees. You could get the low back to open more. Then you press your heels down. Come forward to plank pose. Lower your knees and walk your hands back. Lift up. We're going to come into a deep twisted or revolved lunge. So here's where you might use your block or your stack of books all bound up. I'm going to use a block as a support underneath my forearm as I turn. So I'm going to lean into this and take my hand to the floor or block and drop down through my pelvis. Keep expansive. Keep curious. Keep connected to your senses. They're going to help you know what's too much, what feels good, when to pull back, when to go deeper. I'm just taking my time to let these big muscles stretch. And then there's a little lift. Now drop your left forearm down and hold onto your right shin. And then you're going to turn and twist. Release. Come out slow and steady. Pull your front leg back. Take a couple moments to move and stretch. And step your left leg out in front. Shift your block or pile of books. And melt. Now let's go a little bit lower and twist into it. So lift your weight, right forearm down to the block or the floor if you like. Hold on to your front ankle and melt down with your hip and roll open through your shoulder and chest. And now come all the way out. Pull it back. Move and as you like. Lift up to your knees. And I'm going to have you step your left leg forward. We're going to be turning and reaching back for the back ankle. And some of you who are a little tight in the legs or shoulders might not be able to reach your foot. That's fine. Staying in the heart means you're present to what's showing up now. So we are not in an aggressive state. We're just kind of being in that state of awareness and sensitivity, keeping it light, keeping it open. Right hand down. And I want you just to roll back and forth a little bit. Taking your waistline back. You'll be closer to find your foot. So you lift your right foot up and reach back with your left arm. And you turn. Pull the weight forward so you push down into your front foot. And stretch back. If touching your foot doesn't happen here, just have your foot down and enjoy a rolling twist. And now come out, change sides. Little movements, stay open, stay curious, playful. And when your waistline is back, lift your back ankle, sweep your right arm back to the left foot, and I'm pushing back and keeping pressure. My foot pushes my hand back. And then there's a little roll in the shoulders, the lift of the chin. And release out. Come back for a moment into child pose. Knees wide. Take your seat down towards your heels and block your forehead if you like. Lift your head, and we're going to come to neutral hands and knees. So have your hands at the very front of your mat. We're going to come to plank and then a lift to downward dog. One foot, other foot back. Take a moment here. Feel the power in your chest as you press down into the earth. And then with a drop of your knees, lift your waist and push your sit bones back. From here, we're going to raise your right leg up. So pressing into the earth, lift your right leg, hips stay level to the earth, heel high. And now lower as you come towards plank, back to downward dog. Lift up through your left leg. Lower your foot to plank. Back to downward dog, and we're going to walk the feet forward to a standing forward bend. Blocks might be utilized here to give you that little fold. Remember, we're not trying to do our maximum. We're trying to just stay with the open heart as we experience our body, our movement, our breath. So give yourself the time to fold and stretch, to go as deep as you like, or to use supports. You might even try grabbing your outer ankles and give an upward pull to stretch deeper. Now, supported chair. Release. Hands to your upper thigh. Drop your tailbone down. Enjoy the support of your thighs holding your upper body weight, your heart free and open. We're going to bring in a little twist here. So you're going to keep your left elbow on the left knee, reach over to the outer right knee, and slide your right arm forward, and left and roll open. And release all the way down. And we're going to do the second side. Keep your right elbow on the knee, reach over to your left knee. Now the left arm sweeps forward and you roll open. Roll all the way down. Press into your legs to lift yourself up. And take a couple moments to stretch out, adjust your hardware, roll through your knees. So this pace is building. It's requiring strength and energy. But as we practice and we recognize that the open heart moves us out of fear into courage, then we can get bolder, bigger, more expressive in our poses. So we're going to do some of the standing poses now. So I'm going to have you come to the front of your mat. Step your left leg back. And just take a couple moments just to feel your feet. You can even look, you want to have the heel further back than the toes. So your hips roll forward. You ground in the base of your feet and you pull energetically back up. So there's this pulsation. And it's also coming down towards your belly, lifting up. So everything's moving in and expanding out. From here now, I want to have you lift your arms about 3/4 of the way up and you pull from your fingers towards your heart. Take your low ribs forward, lean into it so you have a big back curve. And now lift your arms up. And you can settle into your front foot. Gradually lower your hands to your heart. So every movement, every transition is the practice. Straighten your front leg and release your hands by your side. Now in the roll back forward with the low ribs and the throat goes back. So there's this your mouth going back, dropping the shoulder blades down, cross the diaphragm, and then lifts your sternum forward and up. So we're keeping the front leg straight, and we're just kind of doing the back bending pyramid pose. You choose how far and how deep. You want to be stable left and right. And now lower your chin, hands to your heart. Lean into the front foot and step. And pause for a moment, hands by your side. Take a breath or two. Second side, right leg back. Steady left-right stance. Warrior one. Hands to your heart. Praying warrior. Push your front leg straight, arms by your side. Again, with the lift of your shoulders, roll them back. Energy moves from the front to the back plane, drops down, and then comes over the diaphragm, under the heart, and lifts your sternum up. Release your chin, hands to your heart. The little lean into your front foot step. Come back to supported chair pose. And now lift all the way up. We're going to open it up a little bit. So this is going to be warrior two. If you want to move your mat straight across to face the way I'm facing, you can do that. Otherwise, know that when you turn open here, your back leg hip is going to be a little bit more open, but we don't just keep it open. We recognize in our life that just being open can be a vulnerable place. You have to be open and steady at the same time. You have to use wisdom and discernment in order to be free. And here we're using the wisdom of awareness of the body to create a beautiful opening expressive pose called Virabhadrasana 2 or Warrior 2. So stepping back, I just slide my heel back, let the hip roll around, tailbone drops behind, and then that kind of rolls the front knee out. And from here, we're just going to float the arms. There's plenty to explore here as you hold your strength. If you prefer, you could turn your gaze to look out beyond your arm. From this place of courage and an open heart, we become peaceful warriors. And release your hands down. Lean forward a little bit. And we're going to step forward, shake it loose. And then we're going to turn it open with the right leg going back. Roll your back leg hip forward, tailbone down, front knee out towards the little toe side, lift. And release. Now we're going to turn on the mat. And we're going to just get wide in our stance. We're going to do a forward bend. So take your hands just to the outside of your knees. And then progressively work your hands down your legs, slow and steady. You can grab blocks if you'd like to put underneath your hands. Or you could take your hands directly down to the floor. This is going to be a revolved twist. So slide your right hand forward, left hand over to the other leg, and you just turn in. Release. Take your right hand over to the left leg and twist in. Pull your navel up and roll so your gaze is underneath your extended front arm. And now release. Hands back to your legs, lift all the way up, and do little rolls here, gradually taking your feet closer and closer in. Shake it loose, soften. Do little hip and pelvis rolls. Okay, now supported side angle pose. Step your left foot back. If you want to have blocks handy, you can just move them around. Grab your pile of books taped together. Supported, forearm down to your front thigh. Roll that back leg, hip a little down so your butt pushes back. And feel that openness in your low back. Openness is great, but we have to balance with it a little contraction here. So I'm dropping my tailbone down, which pulls my navel back. And now from here, I could float up and stretch out. My lower body stays connected and soft, supporting my upper body. So nothing is rigid, it's just engaged but also expansive. Float up, slow and steady. Warrior 2. To Goddess Warrior. Let the pose unfold. Go as deep as you like. Come out if you're ready and just pause for a moment. And then with artistic beauty, you just roll it open. We're going to come into triangle pose. So push your front leg straight. And now we're going to tip, taking your right hand down to the outside of your right knee. Slide down slow and steady, progressively getting to your edge. And maybe you grab a block or you just have your hand on your shin. And back to warrior two. Release your hands. And then we're going to turn and open to the second side. No rush. Take your time. Pause the video if you want. Take a drink of water. Come back. And join me here at side angle pose. Stretch out through your top right arm. And draw your waistline back, tailbone down. Warrior two. Goddess warrior. Warrior two. Straighten your front leg for triangle pose, Trikonasana. And go slow and steady. Your down arm is on the outside of your front leg, either holding onto the shin or reaching for a block or the floor. When you're ready, lift up, warrior two. Release your hands and turn so you're in a straddle position here. Roll your knees and take the heels a little closer, and this is for a rider's stance. And you just roll from side to side, softening out. Whoa. Okay, now just land here for a moment. You keep your hands firmly pushing down in the top of your knees, and that's going to give you support to drop the weight of your seat down as your sit bones drop towards the floor. And we're going to pump with the breath here a little bit. So we're going to be dropping the right shoulder down to look to your left side. Inhale, float just a little. And then with an exhale, fold down and roll. Inhale, slow lift. Second side, exhale, left shoulder down. Inhale up. Exhale. And one more. Lift, step in, stretch. Stand for a moment in mountain pose, just feeling your body weight drop. And life force energy lift up through you like that tree that sends its roots deep and wicks up moisture, life force to fill its trunks, to fill its branches, to fill its leaves. So get fuller and fuller here. And now reach your hands back behind you. We're going to work with humble warrior. So I'm stepping the left leg back, mirroring your action. Right foot forward. And now with the elbows pulling wide like that tree, filling out in its foliage. Shoulders go back. We're going to tip down. This keeps the shoulder blades more level and even on your back, more parallel. And you take your time, several breath cycles, just to go down deep into your stretch. Come up. Keeping your hands interlocked behind your waist, pivot, and turn and face the other direction. Keeping the elbows wide and the palms lifting towards my head, there's a spaciousness in the back of my heart. It doesn't collapse. And then you could just go into your edge, even exploring the difference from side to side. And release. Let your arms go. Step forward and shake your legs loose. Come back to a supported chair. We're going to come down to a seated posture. So here you can maybe just take your hands to the floor, widen your knees into a squat. And then hands behind you, lean back and plop. Come on down. Now, at my age, my low back is a little compressed, and so I love the support that a block gives me. So I'm going to raise up here, sit my seat up high on a block, and now I'm going to pull my right leg back and take my left leg forward. Now here's where another block or stack of books could come in very handy. You might even support underneath your knee. So because I'm elevated in my seat, I want to keep an upward lift in my knee so it's not hyperextending down. So I press my heel down and I'm pulling towards myself. Draw a couple breaths in and out. And just fold forward. We're going to gradually reach your left hand to your left foot or ankle. Some of you might prefer just to put a strap or a belt around your front foot now. And we're just going to fold down. Enjoy the journey deeper and deeper. And now I'm going to begin to pull and straighten my front leg a little further out. Feel my navel come back and the spine lengthen. Now either you can keep your right hand down on the floor, on your knee or a block, or you can take it forward. If you're not able to reach your foot, find happiness just reaching towards your knee. An open heart means that you're very present in the moment to experience what it is, not to go back to memory of, oh, when I was a kid I used to do this or that, or maybe last week I could reach but now I can't because I haven't been moving as much. Keeping in an open heart means we practice every moment with integrity. Our practice should be life-affirming, dealing with what is. This is a nice beginning of our closing where you just melt down and pull in at the same time. Release and change sides. Right leg forward, left leg back. Choose whether you want to block it or not. And then go slow and steady into your forward fold. Reach your hand as far as it will go. And then just work with that. I like to go into pulses, pulling in, lengthening, and then letting go, relaxing a little. This keeps me from being too overly aggressive. And if you can, both hands to your foot, ankle, or strap. And now release. Come back up. And we're going to cross the right shin down. And we're going to open up. So either you keep your foot right down on the inside of your knee, or you cross it over. Crossing it over, you want that foot to drop and be rooted. You want to be able to pull your belly back so you could turn. You could even use a block behind you to support. And then as you pull, you turn. You follow the exhale. Keep the heart open even though it's being twisted and stretched in an unusual way. great metaphor here for life. And now come out of your twist and change sides. Drop your left knee down, right foot in front. Cross if it works for you. And then gradually lengthen, exhale into your twist. Come out of your twist. Stretch both legs out in front. Do little stretches, little rolls and shakes. Bend your knees. And pull your heel further and further back. So we're going to do kind of a seated Windshield-Wiper here. I'm going to have you tip your knees to your right and look over your left shoulder. Lift and shift your weight over to the left. Gaze over the right shoulder. And then release. Baddha Konasana, or seated Cobblers Pose. Here the intensity will increase the more you pull your heels towards your pelvis, so having them about halfway out is good for most of us. Let your knees keep lifting up even as they widen and maybe drop. And you stretch your spine forward. You can place your hands anywhere, from pushing from behind to even reaching towards your toes. And come all the way out. Stretch. We're going to come down to our backs now and do some cooling down. So slide off your block if you're on. Take a couple moments to find your release here as you gently lay back. Moaning and groaning is allowed, so if it feels good, let it rip. And I'm just rolling to support my low back. Now place your feet about halfway out, arms into a cactus shape. And here we're going to Windshield-Wiper at about half speed and about halfway down. Slow, gentle movements. Taking it gentle helps you stay in the open heart. Open heart is more connected to courage and overcomes fear and helps you be present in the moment. And now gradually we're just going to scoot the hips a little bit more over to the right and drop your knees all the way down to the left. Both feet stay on the floor with a little space. And you turn your gaze over your right shoulder. If you want to add a little extra stretch to this, you take your bottom ankle up to the top of your top knee. If that's too much, just don't do it. Come out of that stretch. Even yourself out. Do a couple small swipes of your knees. And now as we do the second side, pick your hips up, scoot a little bit to the left, and tip your knees to the right. The same option, right, exists here. You take your ankle if you want to add a little bit more weight and a little bit more stretch in your hip and in your butt area. And release all the way out of that. Bring your hips to the center. Grab your knees and pull them to your outer shoulders. And down towards the floor. Take your knees together. And we're going to do a little breathing pump here. So with your knees dropping away from the direction of your face, straighten your arms, but keep the outer shoulders dropping down. This is called billows breath, like we're pumping a billow. Draw a deep breath in, and then exhale. Widen your knees and pull them back. Let all the air out. As you inhale, take your knees to the starting position, arms long. Exhale, pull back, knees wide. And continue this several rounds. Moving with your breath. And gradually just release your feet down, do little rolls, little dips, and stretches. Here's where I want you to take the time to do any final little movement that you like to do before we release and rest in Shavasana. So any movements. Let your body talk to you. What does it want to do? Maybe it just wants to release and go right into Shavasana with your arms up. You just breathe, let go and release. Keep your heart open and expansive to the sky above, open behind to embrace the earth and humanity and all the transitions we're going through. And I encourage you to stay here on your back. Let go. Just release. Take all the time that you'd like. Just to feel the skin of your body just kind of melt downward, draped like a blanket laid over your body. Feel the heaviness of your bones being held and supported by the earth. And as you keep a steady, gentle breath, no control, just flowing in and out. Feel yourself relaxing and being held. And I invite you to stay and release. And again, I'm Will Doran. I'm glad you joined me in my home studio and hope you enjoyed this gentle practice. Om Namah Shivaya. Namaste.